Good evening, everybody. oiKkaRma here, and I'm bringing you a video that I have not uploaded in a while. Darn it! I was trying to avoid saying those words, saying the words, oh, I haven't uploaded in a while, because that seems to always sort of be something that I tend to do. Actually, it was funny. Somebody mentioned to me, they said, hey, your channel is kind of, you upload 4 or 5 videos, and then you disappear for a week or two, and you come back and say, hey, sorry, I haven't been uploading. And then you upload 4 or 5 more, and then you disappear for a week or two and say, hey, sorry, I haven't been uploading. But like I said, I'm not going to talk about my channel anymore, or at least not for the next little bit, so what I'm going to say is that school has started, and that's what I want to talk about for this video. And that's partly the reason why I haven't been uploading. The other reason is just that I've kind of gotten lazy with it. Yeah, go figure. No. Real reason, okay, school started, hasn't been on my mind. Have not really thought about YouTube. Shout out to my #1 fan, David Shaw, for reminding me about it. Well, not reminding me about it. Multiple people have reminded me about it, but he's been kind of requesting that I upload. I don't even know what gameplay is going to go to this video. I'm just recording my voice for now, just so I have something to work with. And hopefully my mic is fixed, because I'm using a sound recorder that's different from Audacity. It's literally called Sound Recorder. It comes with my computer. I've never heard of it before, but here it is. I don't even know if it's going to work with Vegas, so I could be wasting my time right now, but I guess you'll know that in the end. Anyways, yeah, what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about school a little bit, because that just started, and I want to sort of go into detail about that, and what it means to me, and kind of a little bit more about life, just to kind of check in, you know? Every now and then you have to check in, you have to examine life from a different perspective, from an outsider's perspective, not from yourself. You can't really tell too much about yourself unless you look at yourself, you know? You can't really look out at the world and expect to see you. Oh, yeah. So what I've been doing, I've been in school, like I said, for the past, I think, 2 weeks now. My classes, I'll just give you a quick overview of what my classes are. I have a spare and an online economics course in the morning, and then I go to lunch, and then I have a religion class and an English class. It's really interesting for me because this is the first kind of year that I've had a new semester, like one that's very different from every other year, because in the past what I've done is I've gone to period 1, I've gone to period 2, lunch, then period 3, period 4, and it's been that way for the past 2, 4, 6 semesters. So this is the first semester that I've ever had a spare, and now not only do I have a spare, I have an online course right after it. So it's kind of like 2 spares side by side, because that online course is not very hard at all. It's not difficult. There's not a lot of work, and it's quite extremely simple for the time being anyway. So for now I kind of have 2 spares in the morning, and then I go into a religion class, which I love my religion class. The teacher's my favorite teacher. I love the content that I'm learning, and I always have, I always will. And my English class is with my favorite English teacher, so no complaints there. I have an overall very simple semester. And next semester, I won't go into detail about that, but it is going to get a little bit more intense, and that's when things are going to start picking up, but not really this semester. It won't be too difficult, so hopefully I can use this semester as a really good opportunity to increase my grade point average, increase my marks, things like that. Just, you know, overall get better. I'm also going to try to not say you know at all in this video. I said it like 4 times, but I have noticed, so I'm working on it. Just something that I do. And what else that I've been doing is over the summer, I didn't ever really talk about it over the summer, but over the summer I found a philosopher who goes by the name of Alan Watts. I will link you to, I think, the first video that I watched of his. There are actually lectures that he has given, or he gave, I should say, because he's actually dead now. He's not even alive. He died in 1973, I believe, and it was kind of towards, I'd say, late 50s and 60s, where he was giving his lectures, and I think he died at an early age, like, well, no, he might have died at like 70, actually, now that I think about it. Anyways, not important. The point is, he was a really smart guy, and he, at least in my opinion, and he talks about a lot of really, really awesome stuff, and I listen to his lectures, and I take some notes on them, and I read over those notes, and I've actually gotten made fun of by about 4 people for doing that. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm writing notes from the guy who does the lectures. And they're like, why you do that? That's weird. I'm like, yeah, it's weird, but everything is weird, and I can go into detail about why everything is weird, but then that's just going to turn this into a philosophical Friday, which that's not the goal. The goal is kind of just to check in and tell you how my life's doing. Other than that, I kind of have been thinking about starting a podcast, but I would need other people for that, not just me, and I would need to be consistent, which I'm not, so I would need other people to kind of keep me in check, keep me in line, keep a schedule going. I think it would be a lot of fun, though, to do a podcast. That would be sweet. So I'm going to start looking into that a little bit more, doing a little bit more research on how that actually works. Yeah, just because a lot of what Alan Watts has been saying, he talks about life, obviously, or he talked about, he talked about life. And he talked about setting goals, and he talked about the meaning of life, and he talked about a lot of different things, reality, words, language, things like that, all kinds of different things. I highly recommend you go listen to one of his lectures. But one of the things that he talks about, one of the many, I should say, is kind of capturing life. And he made an interesting point, and I'm sure that anyone could have figured this out if they just gave it a little bit of thought, but he said, you go to grade school, and kindergarten, for example, you're excited to go to kindergarten, and they say, oh, get ready for grade 1, you know, you're going to be in grade 1 next year, that's the big leagues, that's when grades really start, and then you go to grade 1, and then in grade 1 it's kind of like, okay, get ready for grade 2 and grade 3, and then you go through those, and then kind of grade 5 is when they're like, okay, get ready, you're going to be in the senior grades of elementary school. It's like, yeah, I'm going to be the senior of my elementary school, and then you go to grade 8, and it's like, oh, you're the top, you know, get ready for high school next year, though, it's going to be sweet. Then you go to high school, and, you know, by the end of high school, it's, okay, senior of high school, and at the end of the senior of high school, it's, okay, get to go to university, go to college, and you go to university or college and you do your 4-year program, and they say, yeah, okay, now get ready to go to teacher's college or law school, whatever you're about to do, and you go through that, and at the end of that, they say, yeah, okay, now go get a job. You're gonna go get a job, you get a job, and after that, you say, go get a career, and you start your career path, and you say, go, you know, maintain a spot in your career, find a company that you really want to. Now you've opened the door, you've entered the world of accounting, now go to the accounting firm that you want to work at, and you finally get into that accounting firm. It's like, yeah, awesome. And then one day, you wake up, and you realize that the goal you've always been yearning for, the goal you've always been sort of shooting towards, you're already there. You made it. And it's kind of a little bit disappointing because you realized, I don't feel any different than I, you know, did yesterday. But you're there. There's really nowhere else to go from here. And it's kind of the same thing with people that plan for retirement. They spend their whole life making money, gaining savings, to put into retirement, and by the time they are retired, they're old, they're not necessarily in their best physical shape, obviously, and they're kind of tired, you know, all the things that they wanted to do, travel around the world and things like that, they don't really have as much interest anymore. They're just kind of want to relax a little bit, want to settle down, want to see their family, their grandkids, things like that. So now this retirement that you worked for, you're there, and you're not really enjoying it, and you kind of rush through your journey of life, and it's kind of motivated me a bit. I wouldn't say inspired, because inspiration lasts a long time, and so I don't know if I'm inspired yet, because it hasn't been a long time, but I will say I am motivated. Motivated is a bit more temporary. I am motivated to do more. I'm motivated to be more, and capture more of life, and really actually enjoy the journey rather than just going towards an end goal, because if you're always just rushing for that end goal, you're either A, you're never going to make it. Like, I like the phrase, if you're always planning for tomorrow, you'll never get there. You know, it's true, because if I plan for tomorrow, then I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'll still be planning for the next day, and I'll wake up that day and I'll still be planning for the next day after, so I'll never actually get there. Or if I do, once again, you'll kind of be disappointed because you'll rush through your journey. You won't enjoy it. You'll say, hey, do you want to go do this? And you'll say, yeah, let's get it done, get out of the way, right? Once I get my university credits, I want to get out of the way, that way I have it, that way I can go into the next step. You rush it. You don't enjoy it. You don't live it. And if you don't live it, you're not really living. Again, I don't want to make this do a philosophical Friday, but this is just kind of how I think, guys. This is how I've been thinking the past couple of months now, actually. Thanks to Alan Watts. I have to credit a lot to him, because he's kind of been opening my mind a bit more. And grade 12, you start to think different ways, you start to perceive things in a few different ways. So this also comes with age, I would imagine, but one of the things that he said, I want to try and get away from the topic, but I have to mention this, is one of the things that he said was, think of life as a dance. There's no real destination. You're not aiming for that spot on the dance floor, you're just dancing. It's all about the dance, it's all about the pattern, it's all about the rhythm. It's not about the end dance. If it was about the end of the dance or the end of the song, you would have composers that just composed finales. You know, people would show up to a concert and they hear the final loud crash at the end of the song, and then they'd go home if they were there for the destination. But you're not there for the destination, you're there for the journey. So, again, I kind of use all this as my way of explaining I want to start doing some more things in a podcast. a podcast is one of them. In case, for those of you that remembered, this all stemmed from me talking about a podcast idea, so I'm going to look into that. Other thing that I've been thinking about lately is obviously post-secondary education, which for me is going to probably be university. I don't really see myself going to college. I definitely see myself as being a university student. Ultimately, at the end of my path, at the end of my journey, my long-term goal, or one of my long-term goals, I should probably say it that way, is to become a university professor and to be teaching English, history, philosophies. That would be really sweet if I could do all three of those, although I don't really know if I'd be able to. And at the same time, I would love to be a writer, because a lot of university professors, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but they don't just teach their class, they also write essays, they also write reports, they also do their own research. Just as a scientist would do his research in the laboratory, a historian, or somebody who is, I don't really know if a literaturist is a word or a profession, but an English literature major would investigate things like poetry and Shakespeare, and they derive things from that, and philosophy, of course, is its own whole domain, and I'd be writing books, and I'd be writing essays and things like that, which would be really, really sweet. I would love to see my name in a textbook, or I'd love to have my own book be used in schools or in school settings, and say, written by, you know, Austin Mockery, Professor Mockery, or Dr. Mockery. I'm not sure if I should censor that. No. Anyways, yeah, life. I've been thinking about university. I've been thinking about that. It gets a little bit complicated in universities. Number one, it looks difficult, workload, and getting high enough grades to get in. Number two, that's not really a big concern for me, actually. I'm not actually too worried about that. My biggest concern right now is financial. It's expensive to go to university, absolutely. It is significantly less expensive. I wouldn't say significantly, but it is less expensive for sure to go to colleges generally than university. But I'm just a university student. I've always considered myself to be an academic student, a university student, the top of the class, not really mid to low grades at all in any regard. And I'm an academic, I think, in school terms, so university would be the place for me. And yeah, as far as the gaming scene goes, the Xbox One's coming out. It's very, very, very soon. And so is the PS4, and so are the next-gen games along with that. And so me in the YouTube world is very highly unlikely to be successful. And I see this coming. I can see it looming over kind of like a shadow of any opportunity, any chance of me making it big in YouTube. Let me completely rephrase. Any opportunity of any chance of me substantially growing my YouTube channel are about to be thwarted by this next-gen movement. And it's also one of the reasons why I want to start a podcast, because it might lead to other things that I might be able to be more successful in the YouTube community. It is an interest of mine, and I just never have really properly pursued it, obviously, hence the 36 subscribers still. But I think it would be fun to do if I had something consistent, if I had something with a group of friends, if I had something with a fellowship that I could do it with, rather than just myself. Because I have a lot to say. I really do. I have a lot of ideas, I have a lot of opinions, I have a lot to say. And it would be nice if I had some sort of an audience for that. So that would be cool to do some sort of a podcast going. I really need to look into that, essentially. So that's another point that I guess you can take from this video. Other than that, besides school and besides podcast, I'm going for my G2 test on Thursday. And it's Tuesday. I'm recording. I'm recording this Tuesday evening because honesty. Yeah. And I'm going for that. Hopefully I get it. I'm feeling fairly confident about it. I've been practicing a lot recently. So I hope I get it. I hope I get my G2, and I've applied to a lot of jobs. I'm going to reapply and apply to different places and see if I get any calls back, because I haven't gotten any calls back, even though I don't want to say I'm overqualified, but I have I think anyways, pretty solid qualifications. But apparently the employers don't think so. Besides that, I mean, job, license, I'd be looking into a car, I'd be looking into saving up for university, which these are all kind of short, medium-term goals of mine. Long-term goals, obviously, is university professor. Medium-term would be car, job, saving up for university, things like that. Well, job is actually short-term, and so is license, because those are all happening, hopefully, this week. That'd be awesome if I got hired this week, right? And, yeah. It's starting to come together, grade 12, big year, a lot of things are going to happen. There's going to be a lot of room to grow this year. There's also going to be a lot of opportunity this year, and I definitely don't want to let a lot of that opportunity kind of pass me by. One of the quotes that I've seen recently, I think I might have heard it in my religion class, actually, Maybe not. I don't quite remember where I heard it, but I remember the quote was, in order to achieve great things, two things are required, and that is great minds and not quite enough time. I believe those were the two factors. It was kind of a funny quote. It was by Leonard something. Leonard Berthman. Leonard something. I don't know. I'll put it on screen right now. But yeah, it was a really interesting quote. It's basically saying, I might have actually messed up the quote entirely, but it was along those lines of you need two things. You need a great effort, time. Sorry, take out time. You need great effort. You need a great mind, great thinking. A plan is what he said. You need a plan and not quite enough time. That's what you need. And I like that quote a lot because it's so true. It's so true. We're constantly in an infinite battle with time, and you can't win. Time's always going to win. So you have to accept that, number one, and number two, you have to try and take advantage of as much time as possible. So that's why I'm going to try and get back into doing YouTube more. And I say this all the time, obviously. See, a little pun there. I say this quite often. Obviously, if you've seen all my videos, you know that I've said, "Oh, I'm going to try and upload more," but I just don't. And I know this myself, but I think that what needs to happen is I need to find something that I'm very consistent at, that I'm very successful in, and that can be presented in a YouTube-type setting. And that's probably the best way to put it. So I'm going to start looking into a podcast. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you want to share the love, feel free to share it to people. Feel free to put it on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, MySpace, what else do we got? We got Tumblr, we got LinkedIn, Vine. If you want to Vine a quick little 6-second snap of this and then put a link in there, you can put this on Twitch, you can put this on any kind of Russian websites that you're on, you can put this on eBomb's World, you can put this on Reddit, wherever you want. Just spread the love, get me thousands of more subscribers, and just make me the coolest dude in the world. Totally kidding. All you have to do if you like the video is like it, and if you disliked it, dislike it. Like, click the dislike button, you know what I mean. And tell me why you disliked it, tell me why you liked it, tell me if you want to see more, or don't tell me anything at all, just sit there silently. Don't even touch your keyboard. You know what, right now, close your laptop lid, or shut off your computer, and go eat a bagel. Because those bagels are delicious, man. I love bagels. Anyways, my name is oiKkaRma. Stay classy.